Hi guys, and welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it so very much. Welcome. My name is Aiden. I'm so happy that you're here. I'm excited to do another palette roundup. I'm on the last day of the month. I'm actually getting this filmed kind of on time for once, which is amazing. You're not going to see this for a while though, because I don't want to inundate you with eyeshadow palettes and yeah. Anyway, I have 9 palettes that I wore last month. I have one of them on my eyes. You'll have to let me know what you think of it. I feel like I look a little shiny. I'm using some different setting powders, so maybe that's it. I don't know. Anyway, palettes that I wore this month are Too Faced Just Peachy Mattes, the Alice in Wonderland, Lost in Wonderland Colourpop palette. I have the Makeup Revolution, or just Revolution and Grace Pink Ladies Pink Rules palette. It's a pressed pigment palette. We have this one from Makeup Forever. This is the 9 Artist Shadow. This is number 2. I think I wrote down that one wrong. Then I have this Estee Lauder. This is the Pure Color Envy eyeshadow palette in Nudes. We have the Viseart Tryst palette. We have from Chica Beauty, this is the Fiesta mini eyeshadow palette. I got this one in my Ipsy. Then we have the Kristen, Leanne Urban Decay palette. This is the Kaleidoscope Dream. And then finally, we have Wicked from One Size by Patrick Star, not Jeffree Star. So I will be going over all of these. I will swatch them. I will let you know my thoughts on them. And then I will also be going over them in the order from my least favorite to my most favorite with some declutters. In last place, we have Makeup Forever. I know, it's shocking. This is the Artist Shadow palette in the second color story. This is what it looks like. You have a whole bunch of shades. There are some very beautiful shades in here. There are some that work really well. One, it is all shimmers, so you definitely need to use this in conjunction with another palette. So that was one issue, why it's down here. 2, it is uneven in its use. Some of them are really pigmented and really beautiful. There's some of them that I wouldn't mind having. I'm not one that depots shadows and like massacres palettes. I can't work that way. That is not me. I know other people do that, and I had that suggested in my last video, which is valid for most people, but that is not me. I would rather, I know I have some friends who can turn these into face paints or use it for art, and I'd rather just pass it along and let them do with it what they will, instead of like having a whole bunch of random shadows. Do I ever look at my magnetic palettes? No. I have some that I did that with, and it was a complete and utter waste of time and space and energy, and for me. I know other people actually use their stuff like that, but I don't. All the Colourpop singles that I bought, never look at them. So yeah, for that is why I'm going to declutter this palette. But give you kind of a idea. See that purple? I was really expecting lots with that purple. That purple kind of peters out. It looks a little bit brighter. I don't know why everything looks a little bit brighter when I'm looking at it at my phone as I'm filming. But the other ones work pretty good. The pink and the purple, the 2 that I would like the most, are kind of the 2 weakest in here. This top row, excellent. Very beautiful. This is what I wore in my last video that I filmed for eyeshadows. I was wearing one of these top row, and they are beautiful. I really like them. They work really well. They are very pigmented. Those are the ones that I would keep, but the rest of them, just not a fan. That dark purple at the bottom, not one I really wear. Not into like that dark green brownie shift. Definitely not the blue. The gold, not exactly my favorite either. So this one is in last place, and it is a declutter because yeah. Next up, we have a palette that I actually quite liked. There's some issues with it though. That is why it's going to be in 8th place. It is from Revolution. It is their Grease collaboration for the Pink Ladies. This is Pink Rules. In size, it says it's too pure to be pink, and then it has 9 shades. My main issue with this is I had staining, and it was like I woke up the next morning and I still had it after cleansing balm, after cleansing. Like my second cleanse was fine. It finally went away, but these do stain. These will definitely leave a stain. I didn't have any irritation with them, but do know that I had the staining with, I'm pretty sure, like these 4. These ones were fine. I did really like this row, this first row here. I found all of these worked really well. This was a very pretty, this one I really liked as well. I liked the looks that I came up with. I felt like the shadows worked really well. I found the shimmers looked pretty for the most part. I mean, the red one was kind of like the most meh of the bunch, but I did enjoy this. But two things. One, sometimes it was weird to try to come up with a color story given the shades that I had. And then two, with the staining. So that is why it is down here. It is not going to be a declutter. I'm probably going to wear it again. I will also keep it because it's Pink Ladies and I looked at the Pink Lady jacket. If you didn't know, I did theater. I actually have a degree in theater. And the first musical that I was ever in, the first like community theater show, I guess, it felt professional to me because I had done like an acting class, kids acting class before that, but it was Grease. I was in the dance chorus, so I actually just lip sync all the songs for the chorus. But yes, Grease will always have a special place in my heart because of my connection to it as a show. And yeah. In 7th place, we have Lost in Wonderland from Colourpop. This was a disappointing palette in many ways. One, I should show you the color story, I guess. The packaging is darling. Did a great job on the packaging. Got chests on the back. Has this cute motif over here. And the colors are interesting. It's a weird combination of colors. Nothing that, like some of them, this one seems like it's very much like Alice Blue. There's, you know, some that would go with the caterpillar and those type of things. But the way that they work, oh man. Yeah, the shimmers have shimmer, but the mattes, can you see the mattes? Like, you can see that there's like the barest hint of blue there. I did not build it up because I wanted to show you what that one swatch looked like. You can kind of build it up. That is a little bit more, but it is very, very light. You can barely see, just so disappointing in the colors, how they perform themselves. Am I decluttering this? No, because it's Alice in Wonderland, and I mostly got it for it being an Alice in Wonderland palette. So it's not going to be decluttered. But would I say that you missed anything? No. Would I say you need this palette? No. Will I reach for this palette again? Probably not. It's going to go in my like makeup to save cabinet that I have. That's just kind of cute stuff from different IPs that I really love. And Alice is definitely one of those. But yeah, this one was so disappointing. I mean, look at that green at the top. Look at the taupe. This one is showing up, I feel like, brighter in the monitor than it even does on my hand. The purple, same thing. Like, it feels like they're showing up a little bit brighter. You have a little bit more pigment, but they are so pale on my skin. Yeah, just overall super disappointing. Don't get it. And if it wasn't Alice in Wonderland, it would be decluttered. One other thing to note about the Lost in Wonderland palette is that I said the shimmers didn't perform that well on the eyes. They were just kind of mediocre. So even though they looked better when they were swatched, they still performed mediocrely. So keep that in mind. It might have gone farther down if it wasn't for the Alice and if it wasn't for the staining that I had with the Grease. That's why Grease ended up being lower than Alice. This honestly might have been the hardest ranking that I've ever done, just given the palettes and trying to compare them. It was like comparing pineapples to apples to oranges. It was a little crazy. Rounding out the bottom half, there we go. This is the Urban Decay and Kristen Leanne Kaleidoscope Daydream palette, or Kaleidoscope Dream. This is a crazy palette. It is crazy. Different pan sizes. You have a split pan there in the middle. It's kind of hard to see. You have just all different size pans. Colors, not coherent color story. You can see a little bit better. So the bottom one here is blue and then the top is white. I did enjoy the colors in here. This is another one that I definitely needed a matte palette to go with it because the only mattes you have are this tangine shade and the black. And the black is very black. It is black, black, black. It was shocking how black it was. It's one of the shades that I didn't use. I used a lot of the other ones, but I did not use the black. There's some very pretty ones in here. I love the purple. This is a very similar purple to the peanut butter and jelly palette that I was debating on last month. As of filming this, I haven't decided to keep it or not, so it might, you know, I'll put it down here. So there's that. I like these two splits. There you can see it a little bit better. I really liked those. The gold was nice. The lime was kind of interesting. Definitely not something that I normally reach for. So this is an interesting palette. There are super pigmented shadows. I mean, they are pigmented. They went on with a punch, and they're almost too much in a way. But it's just how incoherent it is, how I really needed more to go with it. That's why it's lower down. It's a good palette though. So if it speaks to you and you missed it, I'm sorry. You missed a palette that would be an actually decent palette. This next one looks a little bit more lackluster than I felt like it performed, but this is the Estee Lauder Pure Color Envy eyeshadow palette in Nudes. This came in one of their holiday sets. It's just kind of a basic palette. I said basic. Some nice shades. They're kind of light, but they were easy to work with. I don't even know if you can see this one down here. There's a shade there. They are very, very light shades for sure. So I'm keeping this one. I felt like it was a good palette for work, and I felt pretty. Like I did these two shades together. I did these two shades together, and I felt pretty. And then these two I did in almost every look. The matte brown and the matte white, or cream, whatever shade. What did they call it? Oh, it just says 06. So it's nice. It reminds me of like Tom Ford or those type of formulas where they're not overly pigmented, but they just kind of blend together and look pretty on the eyes. So I actually enjoyed this one. Have you been trying to figure out what eyeshadow I have on today? I feel like I'm looking oilier and oilier, which is weird. I do have a different setting spray, but it's a matte setting spray, so I don't know what's going on. Anyway, this is the Viseart Tryst palette. This is actually what I'm wearing on my eyes today, and surprise, I'm actually keeping this Viseart after like the past 2 months decluttering. So this is what it looks like. These have a completely different like formula, I feel, than the little mini palettes. So there are 9 shades in here. I am currently wearing the matte brown in the outer portion of my eye. I'm wearing this one in the crease. This one is under my brow bone, and then I have this middle one all over the rest of my lid. And this is what they look like swatched. They swatch really nice. They work really nice. I have, like, is it my favorite palette? No. Is it a decent palette? Yes. Am I keeping it? Yes, I'm actually keeping this one. I was very surprised. I was not expecting to keep it because of my normal problems with Visart, but this one I felt like was a very different formula than their mini pros that I have had in the past. So yeah, I'm keeping it. I like it. Maybe not my favorite look today, but I did like these two darker shimmers here, and I really liked this one. So yeah, it's a good palette. In position 3, this one might be a bit of a repeat in my collection, but that's okay. This is the Chica Beauty Fiesta palette. This is the mini version. I still think it's plenty big. So you have 9 shades in here. You have 4 mattes and 5 shimmers, or 5 mattes and 4 shimmers. There we go. And oh my gosh, it's very pretty. I really liked these shimmers, and I realized this one is kind of similar to the shimmers that I liked in the Grease palette, but you do have more mattes in here. Like, do I wear the blue and the bluey black? No, those aren't my favorite. Those aren't ones that I really wear, but I felt pretty every time I wore this. I was like surprised by how well it worked and how pigmented the shimmers were, especially those 2 in the middle. I really enjoyed this palette, so I'm very happily keeping this palette and placing it in 3rd place, which is kind of crazy against some of these established brands. Okay, in 2nd place, we have the One Size Wicked palette. I'm going to do this in 2 halves, so we're going to look at the Elphaba side first. This one was surprising. I was not expecting it to have as foiled shadows as it did, to be as beautiful as it was, especially when we get to the Glenda side. So if we look, This blush was a little bit much. It was a little bit much on the cheeks when I did it. So be careful with the Elphaba blush. But I like the shades. Especially like the top three, like these three I will wear. The bottom three were a little too dark for me, like this side over here, not really ones that I would reach for as much, but I think it is a very pretty palette and I was excited about it. So yes, side one, the Elphaba side, really nice. I mean, look at that, how shimmery that one is. It's just gorgeous. So here we go with the Glenda side, or Galinda. I love the music for Wicked. I am, as we established, I'm a musical theater kid. You know, still love the theater. Just didn't pursue it as a career because of like casting couches and all the stuff that came out. Me too. Anyway, like that was common knowledge, and I didn't want to go through that. So Glenda is beautiful. I absolutely love these shades. Even the blues, I felt like pretty, and I enjoyed the look I did with the blues, which was kind of shocking. But I love the music. I don't like the story at all. I read the book, and the book is actually one of the very few books that I was like, oh, instant donate. Don't like this book. Did not enjoy it at all. Don't like the story. Saw the musical. Thought it was a spectacle and really something that I would love to watch just that once, but I'd rather just listen to the original Broadway cast. Like, give me my OBC album and will happily listen to Idina and Kristen all day, every day, and Joel Grey. Oh, love him. But yes, this was really, really good. And if you are looking for it, go to the Kohl's website to look for it because it was $15 cheaper. It was like $34 instead of $49. I don't know why. I got it during the Sephora sale, so I got 20% off. But yeah, it was cheaper at Kohl's for some reason. Sephora and Kohl's. Go figure. We are at the number one palette. And I'm willing to bet that if you have followed me for any length of time that you probably are surprised by my number one pick. It's the Too Faced Juicy Mattes, or just Peachy Mattes. There we go. I love this palette. I love that it smells. It still has that peach smell to it. It's a good palette. I used this with my Kaleidoscope palette. I used it with my Makeup Forever palette because it has all the versatility of the mattes that are needed. I will wear this on its own. I have done that in the past. It feels a little odd to me most of the time. I'm like, but I'll put, a light enough shade that it feels like I'm getting a little bit of that lightness there. Here we go. We got all of them swatched here. There's a couple that are a little light, but you can still see them. You can still see that. You can still see that. I think this is just a really nice palette. This was peak kind of Too Faced quality for me. They did a great job. They had that creativity. They were balancing quality with like their creativity, which I don't feel like they get all the time anymore. So yeah, I really like this palette. It is my number one palette, which is pretty shocking, I know. So I told you I was decluttering the Makeup Forever palette. Yes, I'm pretty sure I'm going to declutter this one. The quality is so good in here, and there's some shades that are just really good in here too. But I think I'm going to declutter this one too. So I'm only decluttering 2 out of 9. That's still keeping way too many probably. But the ones that I have over here, I feel like they're either collector ones or they're ones that I enjoy. Let me know what you would have done. Let me know what you think if you've tried any of these palettes. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I can't wait to talk to you next time.